Opening weekend sure was interesting. Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney. Oh my goodness, it is so good to have the IceHogs back. We were treated to 2 back-to-back games for opening weekend, and this upcoming weekend we also have 2 back-to-back games because the AHL schedule is very strange. And to go along with the strangeness, we had 2 completely different games to start the season. Friday night, October 15th, the IceHogs kicked off their 2021-22 regular season schedule in Grand Rapids to take on the Griffins. And they lost 6-1. What a great way to start the year! Obviously, that means great things are gonna happen for the IceHogs this year, right? We can only hope that the first game of the season does not foreshadow how the rest of it is going to go. It started off good. The IceHogs were out shooting the Griffins 10-7 in the first period, and the IceHogs typically do not outshoot their opponent. The score was tied at 1 at the end of the first period thanks to goals from Grand Rapids' Joe Valeno and Rockford's Josiah Slavin. He was one of the best players for the IceHogs last season and a very limited showing. He played in college last year, but once his season was up, he signed a contract and came over to play for the IceHogs. He definitely makes himself noticeable in every game, so it was nice to see him get that goal scoring started early in game number 1. But that was the only goal the IceHogs scored that night. And after a good first period, then they had to play the second period, unfortunately, which is typically the worst period for the IceHogs. Grand Rapids outshot them in the second period 11-9, but they outscored the IceHogs in the second period 3-0. And in the third period, Grand Rapids outshot the Hogs 6-5, but they outscored them 2-0 for a final total of 24 shots apiece, but the score being 6-1 in favor of the Griffins. Malcolm Subban was in net that night, and he didn't look good. That's putting it very nicely. Defenseman Michael Krudel was victimized on, I think, 4 of the 6 goals, so he didn't look good. And the rest of the team, they were out there, I guess. When they played that first period and outshot the Griffins and actually ended the period tied, I thought that maybe there was hope for the game. They actually looked good. I thought, wow, this is a completely different season. And then the next 2 periods happened and they proved that it was just an extension of the 2020-2021 season. Except now we don't have Cody Franzen and we have a new goaltender in net. So very much like their friends, the Chicago Blackhawks, already early in the season, the IceHogs have had a game that you just ball up, throw in the garbage, and set on fire, because you're not gonna learn anything from that game. It was just gross. And the team definitely had to put that behind them quickly because they were playing again the next night in Chicago, taking on their biggest rival, the Chicago Wolves. This game certainly had a better outcome, but if I were to tell you that this game was better than Friday night's game, I would be lying to you. And I don't want to lie to you, so it was a bad game from the IceHogs. They just managed to do the scoring thing more than they did Friday night. Why was it so bad, you may ask? They were tied 0-0 after the first period. That's great. The IceHogs, well, Arvid Soderblöm kept the Wolves off the board in the first. It's always a positive sign when you don't get scored on early and you don't have to start chasing the game from a very early point. But they were outshot in the first period 16-3. I could not believe my eyes when I saw the shot total. I mean, I guess I could because the IceHogs really didn't have the puck much. It was definitely in their defensive end of the ice a lot, obviously. It seemed like the only 2 guys on the ice for the Piggies in that first period were Arvid Soderblöm, the goaltender, and my boy Isaac Phillips. And I'm not just saying that as a way to just talk about him in every video. He was actually the best defender out there, and I believe at this point he's just the best defenseman on the team at 20 years old. But I must say, I was so excited to finally get to watch him in person, and I think he's even more impressive to watch in person. I already fell in love with his game watching him on screens all last year, but then just seeing the small things that defenders do when you're watching the game right in front of you in person, you notice different things, and this kid is the real deal. So after getting outshot 16-3, but ending the first period scoreless, somehow. Then they had to go into the second period, which we all know is the IceHogs' worst period on ice. And once again, they did get outshot, but this time it was only 15-12. That is a bit better than 16-3, wouldn't you say? But here's the hilarious part. The Rockford IceHogs outscored the Chicago Wolves 3-2 in the second period. You heard that right. They outscored the Wolves 3-2 in the second period. That's not to say that it didn't seem like the second period wasn't going to be a dumpster fire on Saturday. The Chicago Wolves kicked off the scoring early in that period, 18 seconds in on the power play, thanks to a goal from CJ Smith, and Ryan Suzuki decided to add a short-handed goal 5 minutes and 28 seconds into the second period. So we have an IceHogs second period. We have them down 2-0. It was seeming pretty hopeless at that point, and I was at that game on Saturday, surrounded by Chicago Wolves fans. So it was just great. But 6 minutes and 48 seconds into that second period, Evan Barrett scored his first goal of the season to cut the Wolves' lead in half. It was now 2-1. And then one we can all get excited about, 14 minutes and 21 seconds into the second period, Lukas Reichel got his first goal as a Rockford IceHog, assisted by Josiah Slavin and Isaac Phillips. What a beautiful goal. And it was a beautiful goal. Reichel had the puck, he drove to the front of the net, just went around the goaltender and put it behind him. It was so nice to watch, and even nicer to stand up and cheer very loudly for my IceHogs, once again surrounded by Chicago Wolves fans. Now, when I'm in an opposing arena, I'm not one of those away fans that's just going to taunt the home fans the whole time, but when my team scores, you better bet I'm going to be loud and cheering for them. And I haven't been able to be loud and cheer for my team in person since March of 2020, so I had a lot of pent-up, happy energy to get out when my team scored. So that was a lot of fun, but pretty much exactly a minute later, 15 minutes and 20 seconds into the second period, Brett Connolly decided to show up on the score sheet and got his first of the season. That one was assisted by Cam Morrison and Jacob Galvis. Brett Connolly had a strange game. He got the goal, he seemed to get a lot of ice time, he was all over the place out there, but he wasn't necessarily good. He didn't have a great game, and he took one too many penalties for my liking. And after an obvious holding penalty, he was very upset about it and arguing with the ref a lot, which was just annoying because if you watch the replay, he got the free hand on the guy he was trying to defend. That's going to be called holding every time. Now, we all know the officials don't always get it right, but that was a penalty, so it was really annoying to see him just yapping at the officials. Just sit down and take your penalty. But he did get the third goal for the IceHogs, giving them a lead. And that is how the second period ended, with the IceHogs up 3-2 over the Chicago Wolves, and I had no idea what was going on because that did not seem possible, and yet here we were. So into the third period we go, and 5 minutes and 46 seconds into that third period, Alex Nylander gets a breakaway on Alex Lyon. And our Alex was better than their Alex, and the game was now 4-2. That seems great, a 2-goal lead. But 14 minutes and 14 seconds into the third period, here comes Eric Jelinov, making us all very anxious by getting on the board, making it 4-3, and then they only need 1 goal to tie it, and then if they do tie it, they're probably going to win the game. But 18 minutes and 39 seconds into the third period, with time winding down, the Wolves emptied their net. Alex Nylander once again has to win a foot battle to the puck, but he does win it, and he puts the puck in the empty net. 5-3 IceHogs. And that, my friends, was your final score. So that sounds great, right? The IceHogs beat the Chicago Wolves 5-3. And yes, that is very good. That makes me a very happy person. What doesn't make me very happy was the shots on goal total. The final shots on goal total was 43-22 in favor of the Chicago Wolves. Arvid Soderblöm made 40 saves, and much deserved. He was the first star of the game. But wow, what a regular season debut for the kid. If he had just been slightly off and not as dialed in as he was, this game would have been a disaster. The Wolves were getting a bunch of shots. The IceHogs didn't seem too intent on blocking any shots. They also gave the Wolves 8 power plays and a bunch of 5-on-3 times. So you see, this was not a great game for the Rockford IceHogs, but it was a great game on the final score sheet. I mean, as long as you only look at the total goals that were scored. But as they say, they don't ask how, they just ask how many. The IceHogs are 1-1. They beat their biggest rival, the Chicago Wolves, to get that one win, and I was there and I was happy. But unfortunately, we have to put that game behind us now because the IceHogs are back in action this weekend. And they have 2 back-to-back games against the Iowa Wild, a team that always gives them fits. Yay! So here are my 3 questions for Friday night's game against Iowa. Question 1. Can the IceHogs score on the power play? So far, they have not done that. I believe they are 0 for 6 on the power play over their first 2 games of the season. That is not great, especially for a team that is not getting very many shots or scoring chances, so when you have the man advantage, it would be nice if you actually took advantage of that and got goals. So if they could please kick that off on Friday night, that would make me happy. Question 2. Can the IceHogs limit the amount of shots their goalie faces? I think this question speaks for itself when they gave up 43 shots to the Chicago Wolves on Saturday night. Thankfully, they only gave up 24 on Friday night against the Griffins, but they were still outscored 6-1. So maybe Malcolm Subban just gets to rest for a while. Question 3. Does Arvid Soderblöm get a second straight start? Now, if the coaching staff was intent on riding the hot hand, the very early hot hand, it's only been 1 game for him, they would start Arvid Soderblöm again Friday night against Iowa. But they do have 3 goaltenders to figure out. So does Colin Delia get the start on Friday? Or do they start Soderblöm again because he had such a fantastic outing on Saturday, and then use this Saturday's game as the one to get Colin Delia his first game of the season? If I were making the decisions, I would go with that latter option of starving Soderblöm on Friday and Delia on Saturday. But I am very clearly not making the decisions, so we'll have to see how it goes. But those are my 3 questions for Friday night's game against the Iowa Wild. It is so great to have IceHogs hockey back, especially with how bad the Blackhawks have been. While the IceHogs may not have played a perfect game so far, it's only been 2 games, and at least they've won 1, unlike the 0-3-1 Blackhawks, who play tonight. There have just been way too many days between IceHogs games with way too many Blackhawks games thrown in between them. And by too many Blackhawks games being thrown in between them, I mean 2. If you include tonight's game. So obviously it's going well over here, I'm having a great time, but what is a great time is watching the IceHogs prospects develop and get better down in Rockford, and watching their games is always fun, even when the outcome may not be so fun. So I certainly can't wait for 2 more games this weekend. And if you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com. You can find links to absolutely all of the places where you can find us over there, but if you are more of a social media person and just want to follow us on those platforms, the links to all of those are down in the description for you. And while you're here, you might as well just subscribe to this channel and give this video a like, because that would make me very happy. But all of that being said, thank you so very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you all after Friday night's game. Bye guys.